In the ink-black vastness of the Indian Ocean, a catastrophe is unfolding. Aboard a packed Boeing 747, flames dance and devour. 140 terrified passengers, miles above the waves, fight for survival, a desperate scramble away from the choking fumes. At the helm, pilots battle with failing instruments and a terrifying descent. Will they reach that distant speck of land, Mauritius, or will they be consumed by the inferno that rages behind them? This is the horrifying and mysterious tale of South African Airways Flight 295, a story shrouded in secrecy, conspiracy, and an enigma that lingers to this day. November 27, 1987, Chiang Kai-shek International Airport, Taipei. Passengers, a mix of returning South Africans, Taiwanese, Japanese, and a scattering from across the globe, board the towering Boeing 747. Their destination, Johannesburg, South Africa. With a fuel stop in Mauritius, it's an epic journey, a flight spanning over 10 hours. Unbeknownst to them, this isn't a typical flight. South African Airways, forced by international sanctions against their apartheid regime, operates in a shadowy world. Unbeknownst to the passengers, Flight 295 often carries more than just their luggage. The 747 they've boarded is a combi, a hybrid of passenger and cargo transport. The front is dedicated to people, but the rear third is pure freight. It's this area that will soon ignite, transforming their routine flight into a heart-pounding struggle for life. In the cockpit sits experienced Captain David Uys, a former Air Force pilot with thousands of flight hours under his belt. His co-pilot, David Hamilton, and flight engineer Giuseppe Bellegarda are seasoned veterans of the 747. The flight crew also includes relief pilot Jeffrey Uys, no relation, and flight engineer Alan Daniel. There's an almost unspoken tension in the air. This isn't just another paycheck run. Captain Uys, a man known for his meticulousness, has voiced concerns for years about the nature of the cargo he's forced to transport and the risks it poses. The behemoth aircraft is pushed back, settles its passengers, then hurtles down the runway at Taipei. As it claws into the night sky, the route ahead is unusual. With South Africa ostracized by much of the world, their flights must take a circuitous path, avoiding the airspace of many Asian and African nations. For Flight 295, this means a long haul south, then a southwesterly pivot towards Mauritius. Hours pass in the standard rhythm of a long flight. Meals are served, passengers doze or watch movies, the flight crew makes routine reports to air traffic control. So far, all seems eerily normal. Then, something peculiar. Cockpit voice recorders, or black boxes, capture the last 30 minutes of a flight's audio. It's critical for investigations. However, Flight 295's recording offers no neat answers. It cuts out abruptly mid-flight, long before their crisis. We hear the pilots discussing dinner, bantering, unaware of the horror that awaits. Some claim this suggests the fire broke out far from Mauritius, giving them time to work on it, descend, and try to communicate before the recorder is disabled. But the fire's intensity contradicts this.
Mauritius, Springbok 295. Good morning. We have a smoke problem.
You wish to descend to level 140?
Yeah, we have already commenced due to a smoke problem in the airplane. Right, so we're on the pre-send if you can alert the fire up.
Do you request a full emergency? Do you request a full emergency, please? A full emergency?
That's Charlie.
Suddenly, in the dead of night, the first wisps of smoke invade the cockpit. Alarms blare. It's coming from the cargo hold. The flight crew snaps into action, checklists whizzing through their hands. Imagine the scene in the passenger cabin. A routine flight lurches into chaos. The stench of smoke, acrid and choking, seeps forward. Panic ripples through the rows as people stumble from their seats, scrambling to distance themselves from the mounting inferno. Back in the cockpit, the fire grows teeth. Flames lick at electrical wiring, and the pilot's instruments flicker out one by one. The plane bucks and pitches. Communication with Mauritius becomes frantic, strained, as they secure oxygen masks and initiate an emergency descent. The aircraft screams earthward. Passengers huddle, gasping for air through damp cloths as smoke invades the cabin. In the cockpit, it's a battle against time and failing systems. The heat warps their vision, the noise is deafening. The pilots desperately call out positions and altitudes to Mauritius, but are they losing altitude too quickly? Will the plane survive this violent descent? The island is still hundreds of miles away, a distant hope against the crushing blackness. The fire rages unabated. We flash back to the cargo hold in Taipei. Were those boxes what they were labeled as? Computer equipment? Or were they stuffed with explosives, ammunition, something volatile? The official cargo manifest seemed unremarkable, yet it was mysteriously shredded after the crash. A reconstructed version listed only mundane items. But how often had South African Airways broken the rules, taking the gamble for their country's sake? The plane shudders, more systems fail. The pilots are flying blind, relying on instinct and sheer will. Mauritius flickers on the horizon, but is it too far? The ocean yawns beneath them, an unforgiving expanse if they don't make it. Inside the cabin, some passengers succumb to the smoke, slumping unconscious. Even those still fighting for breath know their chances are fading. In this desperate scenario, another theory whispers, could sabotage be at play? Did someone want Flight 295 to vanish, silencing secrets it carried? We see the aircraft's final plunge, the impact with the water, the shattering of the fuselage. Amidst the sinking wreckage, are there clues that only the ocean could hold? Rescue ships battle through the night but find no survivors. The investigation begins, hampered by the plane's watery grave. Fragments of wreckage wash ashore on Mauritius, charred and riddled with clues investigators race to decipher. The fire's heat was so extreme, some materials melted beyond recognition. Yet, forensic analysis hints at chemicals, traces of substances not normal to a cargo fire. Experts are puzzled by the conflicting evidence. Meanwhile, whispers swirl. Families of the victims demand answers, but the South African officials maintain their line, a tragic accident. Former airline employees hint at darker truths, but are muzzled. International arms dealers are strangely silent. Here's where the puzzle deepens. The government investigation claims the fire was a typical cargo accident, likely caused by a malfunctioning pallet. Yet, the intensity of the blaze whispers of something more sinister. Theory 1. Smuggled weaponry. This is the most prevalent conspiracy. South Africa, desperate for weapons in the Angolan War, was known to bend the rules. Did the flight carry explosives, perhaps red mercury, a rumored substance for nuclear triggers? Could this have been a deliberate ignition masking the plane's true cargo? Supporting this theory, fire intensity. The blaze was exceptionally hot for standard cargo materials. Shredded manifest, why destroy the cargo list unless there was something to hide? Captain Uys's concerns, he'd been uneasy about potentially dangerous shipments. Could this have been why he initially tried to suppress the fire? Theory 2, the sabotage angle. Was the fire no accident? Some point fingers at foreign agents seeking to cripple South Africa's war effort, or even internal enemies of the apartheid regime itself. What fuels this speculation? Circumstances, the political climate was volatile. Exclamation. Targeting a flagship airline sends a strong message. Contradicting evidence, the chaotic nature of the fire doesn't fit neatly with a precisely planted device. Unexplained traces, chemical substances not expected in a standard fire add fuel to this theory. Theory 3. The cover-up. Regardless of the fire's origin, many believe it became a matter of state-enforced silence. Did the South African government pressure investigators to downplay certain findings? Evidence hinting at this, the missing tape. Why did the air traffic control tape from the crucial period vanish? Muzzled witnesses. Former SAA employees spoke of being told to keep quiet about suspicious cargo. Inconclusive report. The official accident report leaves more questions than answers. The conspiracy theories around Flight 295 persist because the available evidence is maddeningly inconclusive. We have fragments, contradictions, and a strong whiff of something hidden. This is what makes the mystery so compelling and haunting decades later. We cut to the present day. The conspiracy theories have never truly died. Online forums buzz with the debate. Was this a cover-up? What was really in that cargo hold? Declassified documents offer tantalizing hints, but no smoking gun. The South African Airways Flight 295 disaster leaves a haunting legacy. It's a reminder of the compromises made in times of conflict, a testament to human resilience, and a mystery with perhaps no true resolution. In the end, we see the faces of the lost passengers' crew, their stories cut short in the vastness of the Indian Ocean. The lingering question echoes, what was the real cost of that fateful flight, and who truly paid the price?